South African heartbreak, and it was coming, you felt, because all those years ago, how much people slandered Herschel Gibbs for dropping the World Cup when he dropped Steve Waugh. If you don't take your catches, you don't win the matches. And of course, Australia have consigned South Africa to their fourth semi-final defeat, while meanwhile they propel themselves to their eighth World Cup final. You're watching the cricket.com match review with me, Avnish Hegde, and of course, Gurkirat and Nikhil Poha. As you can see, guys, it's a painful one to take for South Africa. Nikhil, I'll start with you because you were so close, but no cigar.
Yeah, I mean, that sigh is just a sigh of a lot of controllables not done well. I think South Africa should do that more than the luck aspect. Uh, they got a score which you could clearly see was could have been enough on the surface, but they really allowed South Africa, Australia to just get away. As you talked about taking care of the first 5 overs, they hardly did that. Couldn't bowl in one line, and head was going to give you chances. You have to take them. If you don't take them, you have to keep creating them. They gave away 60. Took them so long to get Maharaj on. Markram, we discussed getting Markram in the power play to the two lefties, and he struck immediately. It is such a state that you see every bowler probably struck in his very first, created a chance in his very first over. You know, Maharaj did it. Coates did it off his very first ball. Uh, Shamsi also did it off his very first ball. So you had the personnel to do it, but I think South Africa were just not there in terms of using the right resources at the right time.
There were plenty of oohs and ahs across living rooms in the world with cricket fans watching, hoping for South Africa to get something out of it, but it wasn't to be. Gurkirat, was it fitting of a semi-final according to you?
Yeah, you got to see a good contest. You saw a team that was behind both with the bat and ball and still trying till the very end. I mean, South Africa lost, but they did not really go down without a fight. They really made Australia stretch. If you had asked anyone that at 28 for 4 batting first, would South Africa had stretched this game till the 98th over of the game, I don't think anyone would have agreed on that. So it was a game fitting of a semi-final without a doubt.
Okay, keep your comments coming through. Of course, lots to ask Gurkirat and Nikhil, and of course, show you some stats, discuss certain things heading up to that Sunday's final because I can't believe it. India, Australia, 20 years later, Badla Lenge and all of that stuff will start from Star Sports. But please like this video and, of course, subscribe if you guys are new because we've hit a milestone as well. And before we go further, let me just, of course, recap what's happened out there at Eden Gardens today because it was nearly Edgbaston vibes with that 212, 213 scorecard, which we've familiarly seen with South Africa and Australia. And there is a summary. It wouldn't tell you about Pat Cummins and his little priceless contribution, but of course, as you can see, Australia getting the job done by 3 wickets and heading to Ahmedabad to face India in that final. We'll talk about the top performers and who Gurkirat the Knicks liked on that day. But guys, honestly, I mean, right now when South Africa look back at this tomorrow or today when they head back to the hotel room, Gurkirat, it was fielding the main difference because if they took their chances, it could have been a whole lot different. Or do you look at it from a perspective that Australia have kind of used up all their luck before heading into that final against India?
It's both ways, isn't it? I mean, yeah, yeah. I just feel the game, like I said in the first innings, the second innings was also a story of a lot of what ifs for South Africa. That what if both Jansen and Rabada had bowled with some control in the first 5-6 overs? Because I remember in the mid innings saying that it could be the game that could get decided in the first 5-6 overs, and uh, Australia was 60 for no loss in the first 6 overs. Then obviously the delayed introduction of Maharaj, and then see some of those chances were very difficult. The chance of the chance of head off Shamsi with to Klassen at slip. It was very difficult. It was traveling. Those get stuck if they do. Then the chance of Smith versus again versus Shamsi, which hit De Kock's thigh. Again, it was very difficult for any keeper to catch it. Those get stuck. Then there was a umpire's call of Labuschagne that wasn't given. Then there were a lot of plays and misses. So
Even
it
towards
was
the end,
just,
right? Even towards the end, Gurkira, didn't you see that little nick that De Kock just couldn't hold on to it? It probably hit him
yeah,
everywhere,
yeah,
and
yeah,
it was a little too
probably,
late.
yeah. He would, after having such a great tournament, he would really not like to end his ODI career and campaign on such a note. But it happens. It's what sport and life is. So I think, see, in both the innings, you'd have to say that the first 10 overs is what hurt South Africa the most. The lack of control, and then some tactics by Bavuma. The catch that Riza dropped, probably that should have been taken, but yeah, really can't do much about it. But it just goes on to prove that this second innings has proven that it wasn't really I think it got proven in the first innings as well, but second innings gives you more belief that it wasn't really a bad decision to bat first, because batting was tougher in the second innings. The ball was turning a lot. So yeah.
Okay, let's take some comments right now because there are lots of comments coming through and really, really appreciate it. I know normally it's either three of us doing the previews and reviews, but genuinely it feels like there's a lot of you guys involved, and that's what builds the cricket.com community. So, Soliq, Greg K, good to see all you guys. Prasad, if you're new, please subscribe. We'll entertain all your questions. You can ask us about the final as well. We'll be here slightly longer on this Thursday evening, without a doubt. But let's just get all the things out of the way so we can, of course, adhere to you, because we talk about, for example, the top performer and so on and so forth. So we'll start with there. And of course, no prize for guessing who won man of the match. Right, Nikhil Popa, do you agree with the man of the match, Travis Head? Because I think one of the commentators compared him to Virendra Sehwag. I felt the same because Sehwag just didn't care about the occasion at times, didn't care about both bowlers. Travis Head was playing ballsy cricket, and we thought Rohit Sharma was flirting with danger. Travis Head defines flirting with danger.
But then you have to remember he also took 2 wickets, and
Yeah,
that to me
exactly.
sealed it more than his
Yeah.
batting, because he got Klassen out, and then of course his batting was always going to be risk versus reward. But I think it was with the ball also that he played a very massive role. That, and again he took 2 wickets when it didn't seem likely that he would, or Australia would find a way to break that partnership. So I think well done to Travis for being able to break that partnership. And then with the bat, he was always going to go for the boundary shots. And it was really, I wouldn't want to be harsh, but it was really terrible captaincy and planning to really give him so much space to work with. You know what he likes, and you keep feeding him that. He's done enough versus you against opponents right in this World Cup as well. So uh, I think South Africa will really rue the lack of execution that they had today, but doesn't take anything away from Travis, who had an absolute great, and again tells you how two people who have done something after coming to the side, after not being part of the first 11, are going to play the final. One is Shami for India, and the other is Travis Head for Australia. So good to see them play impactful knocks. Head did that versus New Zealand as well. So let's see how it shapes up in the final.
Okay. Lots of people, of course, having their say about South Africa. South Africa missed crucial moments. Klassen getting out. Coetzee not taking the review. Miller playing that city shot with 3 overs to go. Bavuma playing. De Kock and Mandadus and Rabada and Hanson horrible. I think there were also rumors that Rabada wasn't fully fit, and that's why he didn't complete his quota of overs. Lots of people also, Gurkirat, slandering Bavuma as a captain. Now, what did you make of him in a game like today? Because I've asked you about Bavuma's captaincy in the past, but today was a real litmus test of Temba's credentials as captain.
See, there are many facets to discuss about his game in detail today. First is obviously the decision that if he wasn't 100% fit, should he have played? That is the first question that you ask,
Hmm.
because he's also not been informed. I'm not saying that Riza replaces him when he's fully fit, because Riza has an average of 30. Temba, before coming into the World Cup, had an average of 50, and he was really good for South Africa before the World Cup. So I'm not really saying that he did not deserve his place in the 11. But if you are not fit, then I'm not so sure. On the flip side, you know, this is the World Cup semi-final. As a player, you want to be out there. you want to play even with a minor injury or whatever. That's something which even the great Muthaiya Muralidharan did in the final of the 2011 World Cup. He was injured, he was not fully fit, but he still played. So that's the value of that game. So uh, that is one aspect that should be talked about. uh, Today I felt, he just got too caught up with the conventional matchup, delaying Maharaj to the extent. I think Maharaj came on to bowl in the 13th over, and by then uh, Australia had reached the halfway stage. So he probably did not want to bowl him as long as there was head on the crease, but yeah, you saw the pitch and it was so funny. It's something that I even posted on my Twitter, that our internal chat, I said, will Maharaj come after the game's done? And Nikhil says, would be very funny if Maharaj gets the wicket off his first ball, and that's exactly what happened. So that is something that he should get criticism for.
But what
And
was more
yeah,
baffling, because even in the past, this tournament, we've seen sometimes he's let the game drift. I think that Eden Gardens game against India, he could have applied more pressure with bringing his mid on, mid off up. Today as well, I know he didn't have too many runs to play with, but you should kind of be a little bit bold, right? Fortune favors the brave. That's the old age saying.
see, in that game, I felt he was sort of let down by Shamsi's lines. But yes, what he could have done more is probably bowled Markram, given the help on the pitch, especially when Jansen did not really have a great game. So that is something that he could have done. But then again, the conventional wisdom that, okay, two right-handers are batting, you really don't want to bowl Markram. So there's that. But otherwise, I felt that he did try to attack, but he really missed the trick in the first 10 overs. And then obviously bowlers, especially Jansen and Rabada, did not offer the support that he would have liked. So once that happened, it was always difficult for him to find a balance between a field that also saves runs and also attacks the batters. And it will always be a challenge when you have a bowling attack which has bowlers like Rabada, Jansen, Kodzi, Shamsi, Maharaj, where you really can't ask for, you can, I mean, you can ask for control, but you will not get it. The
Correct.
only control that you can get from is probably Maharaj. So it's a challenge. I'm not saying he did not make a mistake in delaying Maharaj, but otherwise it's a very difficult bowling attack to manage, especially when you are defending a total like this.
True. I think even Prasad Simadri exactly saying that, because the extras affected South Africa a lot. Even in the last couple of overs, you saw that unnecessarily wides and all of that could have been avoided. Nix, I just want to ask you, right, about South Africa right now, because they've literally been so good to watch this World Cup. Let's not forget what they've done with the bat in hand, scoring 350, being so brilliant. But then what is it with them in semi-finals? Can we attribute it down to anything? Is it just shit luck, fate going against them? Because sometimes it's rain, sometimes it's drop chances. Today it's a culmination of pretty much everything. Can you put a finger to it?
So I don't think you can put a finger to all the games is combined. I think today's game they would still feel they had a lot of things that they did right. As Paji said, they were able to make the game out of two very bad situations, but they got them into as well. They got them into it on the basis of some okay batting. I would not blame the top order much because again you saw the conditions were tough. But as Paji says, you play Riza, maybe he tries something else, maybe it comes off. The point is how much are you going to just stick to what has worked for you. And it's about thinking that okay, are we destined to be like that, or do we need to change something. So I think South Africa tried their best to stick to what has worked for them, but the problem is it did not turn out that way. You see that with the way Bavuma played. You see that with the way they bowled Rabada and Jansen only, did not go to Markram, held Maharaj back. So I think on the big day, it is a very thin line between going that, okay, I know what I want to do, and okay, maybe the situation is not like this. Let me be proactive. So that line is very blur. I think today they were not able to identify those right line, and they made a lot of they waited a lot today. It's what I felt. They waited too much with the ball at least. With the bat, I think they still did very well to get to that score. Again, you'll say, yeah, head wala wicket. It could have been avoided, Klassen, or Jansen could have been avoided, maybe. And then Gerald Coates is not out, we don't review. And then
Yeah.
Miller gets out with just, but again, these are very harsh calls to nitpick. with the bat. But with the ball, I think they could have really done a lot better in terms of getting Markram early, removing Janssen after just two poor overs. That okay, you're not getting your lines, it's fine. Even India have not bowled Siraj after 2 overs. I think that is the proactiveness that I felt was missing today from South Africa. So I wouldn't go back to the previous ones, but I think this game is something that they'll have to blame themselves also in terms of not executing well. And when you have a very thin batting and bowling lineup, the margin of error for that is also very less.
No, absolutely. Nikhil Baiju going on to say the game is pretty much lost in South Africa batting power play. If you look at it on paper right now, India, Australia play in the final. They both are the best teams in terms of the uh, run rate in the power play this campaign. So it's really fitting. And South Africa, who knows? Because the next time the ODI World Cup is going to be happening, it's going to be happening in South Africa, and the host nation might win it then, and then they'll get the monkey off the bat. But I'm just thinking, if you're a Protea fan and an RCB fan put together, God bless you. I think you should stop watching cricket because it's tough to take indeed. Let's of
Yeah,
course
you,
get
you you could have added, being a Man United fan as well. If
no.
you
We've
went to,
experienced tournaments.
if,
We've won
if you
stuff.
went
Do
if
not
you
even go there.
if
No,
you if
no,
you
no,
went
no,
if you
no,
went
no.
till the trouble of adding RCB, you could have added United
RCB
as
by
well.
United have won titles. They've been a historic thing. RCB
Yeah,
and Proteas haven't won anything. 1988 Champions Trophy did they win South Africa?
they did
No, right?
win one Champions Trophy, I think.
And they won some Commonwealth gold medal, I think, in 1980.
Yeah, that they have.
That they have. Okay, let's go to Gurkirat's favorite part of the show, which is, of course, you guessed it, turning points. What was it, Paji? Because look, Australia won a spot of bother when Maxwell became a dud from a star overnight. I'm quoting Somesh here on WhatsApp. But Steve Smith, again, showing that little bit of composure, even though he had a brain fade. Do you think that was a turning point? Was it way earlier in the game? Talk to me. What decided the game for you?
Turning point was Travis Head's over where he got 2 wickets.
The class in dismissal.
Klaasen and Janssen, because Janssen has been more than capable with the bat. Even if Janssen had played for some time, South Africa could have been within touching distance of 250. Could have gotten 230 to. There again, it's something we discussed earlier. They are rarely being carried by individuals. Teams teams know where to hit them. There are a lot of weaknesses there, and at this point of time, their middle order does not give you any confidence. You look at the dismissals of, I mean, today when Marnus and Smith got together, they just had to play out spinners. They just had to play in the V. That's about it. Marnus tried sweep, reverse sweep on a couple of occasions, was not really, nailing it, and eventually got out that way. Maxwell, I really don't want to say much because that is something that will happen with him. It's very high variance. So again, but then that Smith dismissal, see, for all the experience and everything that he's had, now someone really needs to go up to Smith and ask him, and I'm sure he will also admit it, that you know is that the kind of shot that he should have played in that situation, or do something like that. Because now, regardless of who the opposition is, regardless of what format is, regardless of what the venue is, Smith has been finding ways to get out. And today again, that partnership had happened between Inglis and him, and maybe if they had batted for 3 or 4 more overs, South Africa would have lost full steam. He played that slog, then it gave South Africa again some hope. Kodzi tried really hard and then got that wicket of English. So yeah, Australia have their fair share of problems. They might have been on an 8-match winning streak, but they really have a lot of problems going into the final.
Okay, let's see, of course, how that is on Sunday, and we'll, of course, preview and review it for you and take some comments right now. Nikhil, just on Smith and how Australia kind of went about their chase. Is that only purely because most of their players know how it is to experience a World Cup final and they just had that World Cup pedigree? Would you put it down to that, or obviously a lot of luck too?
See, I think it is something that I'm not very sure of how much to put weightage to, because a lot of people have played a lot of knockout matches. That doesn't make them get through it better. I mean, you've seen that in the IPL, you've seen that in world cricket otherwise as well. Quinton has played 3 games now. So has Miller. He's got a 50 and all of that. So it's not that you'll say if you played, you'll do well. I think with Australia also, again, it is they are playing the final, and it will seem stupid to say, okay, as Padi said, okay, there are a lot of areas, and that's there. It's not that we are speaking out of the blue. You've seen how they played games. It has been individuals who have turned up, and they've turned up so well that they haven't needed others to turn up. And sometimes you can go through and win an entire tournament like that, and which is perfectly fine. It's just how the tournaments are designed. But come the final, if you ask anyone right now, you'd probably see that yes, Smith, Marnus, even Warner, they've all had very clear areas where you feel you can target them. Now,
Hmm.
whether they can use their World Cup experience or not, I don't know. Because if you are not in good form, I don't know how much of it will play a part in that. So maybe you will be able to control your nerves better. But if I go by the shot today that Smith played, you'd see that it didn't come through that experience. And even if you haven't played a World Cup like that, I mean, he was the guy who hit the World Cup winning runs in 2015. So you'd not associate somebody like him to play a shot like that. But it's just in that moment he was expecting a short one. He got a length one premeditated and got out like that. So I think it's a very thin line to read into okay, whether they'll benefit from it or not. But because see, India also have played a lot of semifinals, right? They've played a lot of semifinals in 2015, but that didn't mean that they crossed in 2017 or 19 or 20 or 22. So it's on that very given day what you're able to do, and are you able to stick to your plans and still be proactive enough? Because what you saw with India yesterday, that there was a half an hour where things did not go to plan for India. But
Hmm.
now they haven't played a lot of semifinals and they won. But they found a way to just get back into the game. So I think that is something that both Australia and India will hope that they are able to pull that experience back on, that okay, this is how we'll do it. And if it works out great. But on that experience bit, not very sure how much of it is always useful. It is handy, of course, it is handy to able to handle pressure, but you still have to do it on that very given day also.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, we were talking about it in the preview as well, and Gurkira threw that stat out. Like in the last 18 matches, I think South Africa won the last 15. That goes out of the window because, of course, Australia just have pulled through to yet another final, their eighth final, which is absolutely ridiculous. We'll give you some quotes as well from the post-match press conference. I think Pat Cummins went out to say, I mean, obviously, we'll always remember Pat Cummins as a bowler for sure, even 20 years down the line. But the two innings already in 2023, the one in the Ashes, and then again partnering Maxwell in that Afghanistan chase, and then today, Pat Cummins should be really having some respect as a batter on his CV indeed. We spoke about Gerald Coetzee. Of course, he ends up with most wickets in a World Cup edition for South Africa, 20, overtaking Lance Klusener, 17 in 1999. Also, with regards to another stat that I saw on cricket.com, which is absolutely brilliant. I'll bring it up for you in just a bit. But just coming back to Gurkirat and the boys right now, let's talk Sunday, boys, really quickly, because 20 years ago, 2003, we suffered badly. We got to put them at the same sort of sword, man. What's going to happen? Just your gut feel heading into that game, seeing Australia right now in the semi-final. Do you think it'll be a repeat of what happened in Chennai? Low scoring game, great advertisement for ODI cricket and all of that?
I don't expect it to be the same kind of game, but I'm still fairly confident of India's chances. Uh, I felt it yesterday also. There was a lot of you felt there were a lot of apprehensions and fears before the game for Indian fans, but the from what I have seen and from what I have followed, this team has been able to find a way in whatever situation they have found themselves to be, and man to man or on paper or even statistics wise or anything, they've been the better team without a doubt. So I'm not sure how they'll win, but I'm fairly confident that they'll be able to win on Sunday, even if they have to chase, or even if they have to chase. I'm fairly confident of that.
Nikhil, I'm guessing it's right and fair to say that India start favourites in this final because of home advantage and their 10 match winning run, all of that. And I know Australia won 8 in the bounce as well. But do you see how Australia can exploit the chinks in India's armour? Because I felt India were off the boil only once in the tournament, or maybe twice. Once was in their first game against Chennai when they had that early blip, and then there was a period in the New Zealand game where there was overthrows and the body language looked a little off. But apart from that, this Indian team has looked impregnable. So how can Australia go about beating them? And do you think that can actually happen in the first place?
Well, I'm fully expecting them to try and do that because that's what you see in the final, that it brings its own pressure. But as Padi said, the thing that has stood out so far for this Indian side is they found a way, and that is what I think the team will be very quietly confident about. It's not something that you can brag about before you won the main thing, but you'll feel that come that day, whatever is thrown at you, you'll hope that so far you have found a way, and on that very given day you'll also find a way, because uh, Australia did give India enough threats in that very first game. They had them three down very early. There was a catch drop. Who knows what could have happened? But they'll again go back to the same bit that, okay, if India is batting first, okay, we are looking to get Rohit early. Okay, if that is done, let's look at getting Zampa into the game, into that to that middle order. But okay, what is trouble India though? Okay, maybe left arm spin. Do we have a left arm spinner? No. Will that be a problem? Do we change combination? How will India play Glenn Maxwell? So I think it's all these small battles that they'll eventually go out thinking about whether they're batting first or or they're bowling first, because it's Ahmedabad. Conditions are going to be different. Very keen to see if it is another slow wicket, or because I'm sure we will hear a lot more about the pitch also in the next few days. So very keen to see which kind of surface is there, because that will also decide the combination that Australia are going to, whether they feel that we want an extra bowler here, or is our batting going to be good enough? Because so far they've had to use Marnus with the bat a lot, and I don't know, or I don't feel that it's something that will be very proud or confident about, because Marsh has had two, he's had a great score and then a lull. He has a great score and then a lull. So they'll want him also to get going. So I think there are a lot of small mini battles. In terms of things for India, I think they'll find a way out. It's what my overall feeling about it is. But yeah, let's just see how it turns out.
I'll just have one thing to say. I would hope that Rohit doesn't do a McCullum of 2015 final. Just watch the ball for the first over. That's about it.
That that is true. Gurkhirat, the fact that Australia have never lost a final barring Sri Lanka in 1996, does that give them any added advantage? Or again, reputation goes out of the window? This Indian team and this Australian team, when they
No,
collide on
it's
Sunday.
it's not the same set of players, that have won each and every final. Uh, from the 2015 final, you would say there is Cummings, there is Stark, there is Smith,
Warner.
and
Yeah.
Maxwell, Warner. Yeah, five of them.
Yeah.
Was
Cummins
Hazelwood
didn't play. Cummins didn't play,
Cum-
na though.
was probably in
Cummins,
the squad, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
he was in the
Cummings
squad.
he
was
was.
Like Mitch
was
Marsh was in the squad as well.
Yeah.
yeah. So there is some experience, but at the same time, this Indian team has also had fair amount of experience. Virat was a part of 2011. Ashwin was a part of the squad. Then 2013 Champions Trophy, you had Rohit being a part of the
Jadeja.
squad. Jadeja
Jadeja.
was there, and you had the likes of Shami play enough cricket. You've had the likes of uh,
Ruk
you've
ja,
had
ruk
the
ja.
so
Go on, go on. Yeah.
you've had a lot of cricketers play a lot of cricket, and of course there is experience from the coaching staff as well. So, and sometimes it could work both ways. Experience is important, but sometimes not having any baggage of having lost in the finals is also important, because then you are not carrying any doubts from those performances. So it can work both ways. And at this point of time, purely talking in terms of the quality that both the teams have, you'd have to say that India go in as favorites. And yeah, it's
Let,
Ahmedabad.
let me
I'm
just ask
hoping.
you this with Prasad, because I was going to ask you this anyway, Gurkirat. The fact that you already kind of envisage Jadeja and Kuldeep strangling Australia with spin, especially Marnus, Smith, Maxwell got out to Kuldeep, I think, in Chennai. So there's little demons we can play there, right?
It should be worth watching even without grip, because
Hmm.
Kuldeep has bowled in a manner which has many times taken the pitch completely out of the equation, and Jadeja has not given anything away. If there is grip on offer, then they become all the more dangerous. So it should So it should really be a battle to watch out for. But uh, I, as I was saying, it's Ahmedabad. You are expecting a Gill special, and
Okay,
he's
I mean,
been he's been in good form coming into the game.
yeah, I mean, he says that with a cheeky smile. Sully Q also saying Gill will play the innings of his life. He's the only one left. He was saving it for the final. After all, let it manifest. Yeah, absolutely. Keep your comments coming through. We have 2 more minutes or 5 more minutes. My producer tells me to carry on with this. And I just generally feel, guys, heading into that Sunday final right now, I know Gurkit has predicted an India Australia final, and I know Nikhil, you predicted an India South Africa. It wasn't a B, but do you think Australia right now are the stiffest competition India could have had in a final? Because you look at all the 9 teams India have faced, no one's given them a game apart from Australia. Even that Chennai game, essentially they tried to at least put India, you know, against the wall. I know India found a way, but do you think? I don't know. Are you nervous or excited as an Indian fan? Is my question.
I'm neutral. I think it's very good that I don't know how I have gotten into a stage where I'm, as Padi said, quietly confident, not overconfident, not overly worried or scared. Maybe post 2019, the nerves have completely died down in terms of expectation. So that is good because then you are able to look at the game very objectively. So, like you asked first, that of all the teams, who would have given India a challenge? I think every team would have given India a different kind of challenge, apart from the people who played the knockout. So New Zealand had their own challenges. We've all we've all discussed and worried about the left arm threat, the Matt Henry beat, movement early, and all of that. So that was taken care. Santner got left arm spin ka issue. If you go to Australia, you'll again say, okay, you still have a left-hander there. Josh Hazlewood bowled well under lights in Chennai. So can he do that again? You have the Zampa threat as well. So I think the thing that makes me not worry too much about this side is they've done it in the past and they've done it convincingly. And maybe that's the difference where I feel that maybe Australia will have more pressure as compared to India because you haven't felt very confident looking at Australia. They've scraped through, which is credit to them that they've been able to do that. But India have just been a bit more convincing and clinical in the way they've come back in the game and they've closed the games out like that. So uh, I'll say quietly confident, not worried too much. All I'll say that I said before the World Cup is it will take something special to beat this side. And I'll maintain that even today, that it will not be, if it is a individual having a day of his life, then you can't do much about it.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing, right? Especially in these sporting competitions, not just in cricket or any other sport. Like you just think one man can take the game away from you, and hopefully that's an Indian on Sunday. Of course, I know I should not be biased, but I am going to be biased. Fuck it, honestly, guys. Honestly, it's been so good to talk to you guys after the second semi-final. I know we've spoken about a bunch of different things, even in the mid innings and the preview show. I just want to take this opportunity right now to just show you what kind of channel we are in terms of cricket.com because we produce a lot of videos. There's some fantastic ones which have just come out. The one that, of course, caught my eye earlier this morning, even though I voiced it, was the most controversial World Cup final, which Australia made in 2007 against Sri Lanka. You have to go check that video out. You also have to go check out the reactions from the Mumbai fans yesterday outside the Wankhede. I actually nearly got a cardiac arrest because there was a child lighting a chakra with a sparkler, and the chakra was a chakra because I think it was a chakra bomb. Nonetheless, you can check it out here in this one. We also traveled the local trains in Mumbai, and we got an absolute buzz of people singing Ganapati Bappa Moria for like hours on the train back home. Lots more to love on cricket.com. And of course, follow Nix and Gurkirat for all the more updates. Final words with you guys. Gurkirat, you first, and then Nix, you can end the show.
Yeah. What are you doing on the streets when crackers are banned?
Exactly, bro. What is that rule? I
No,
mean,
I'm
I thought
I'm
the
asking
Supreme Court,
about I'm asking about what are you doing on the streets when crackers are
my
banned?
my job, interviewing players, people.
The one
So,
time I felt like giving
am
him
I
a
supposed?
compliment and
So am
he's
I
let it
supposed to?
pass.
No, am I supposed to kind of take the stance of saying, "Nahi ye mat karo, don't do it." Child's not going to listen to me, bro. There was one guy who's taken a bijli and be like, "Chal," and he's tossed it at us. I was like, "What's wrong with him?" Madman, absolute madman. But yeah, Gurkiat, your final words for the day. Are you happy, sad?
Yeah, I feel bad for South Africa, but not as much as what I felt for them in 2015. You, I mean, in 2015, you just felt that the rain did them dirty. But today, it was more of their own mistakes, and yeah, a
What's the
learning.
gas chamber? What's the gas
I think he meant the air in Delhi. So yeah, but see, it's still a learning curve for a lot of the South African team, especially that bowling attack. A lot of young players out there, and yeah, South Africa now have to find who can replace Quinton, and do the job that he's done for them in the format for so long. Not a great way to go out, especially after having such an outstanding tournament, but can't help it.
Okay, and Nikhil Rajahuman has one for you really quickly. I don't think India will change their team, but you can say whatever you have to say.
No, no, don't worry. He'll get
Even if
Marsh out,
even if it's a
cost
ranked
him.
turner, right? Even if it's a ranked turner, the Ahmedabad pitch that we saw for the India England series, Ashwin won't play regardless.
Chill. सब सही रहेगा. Don't worry so much.
I don't think both the teams will make any change in the 11.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
100%.
Most
Guys,
likely.
thank you so much for your time. Brilliant to have you all. And I'll see you guys on Sunday. And yeah, see the rest
I
of you
may
guys.
not be there for the preview show. I have informed Akshay already.
I know, correct. You have family commitments, which is all right. Don't worry. Have a good
I'll,
one
pro-
anyway.
I'll
Have a
probably
fantastic
be
weekend.
I'll probably be sitting in a gurdwara and watching the game on Hotstar.
Well done. Well done. Look, guys, thank you so much for your time. Gurkirat, you've been a sport, and Nikhil, you too. By the way, tomorrow, even though there are no games, I'm going to be interviewing the TGC, the great cricketer, and having an absolute riot with them. I've already recorded with them, and it is a fun watch. That drops tomorrow, so check it out on cricket.com and subscribe if you guys are new, and like this video because Australia made yet another final, and it's India-Australia, a dream final that we all wanted. Cheers, goodbye, and good night.
Chakte.